evening. My name is Renee Ewart, and I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator.
And I'm Hannah with Handcrafted Gifts, also an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up!
Today we have for you pop-up placeholders. So we thought for the Christmas season, we would go ahead and produce these cards as placeholders at the dinner table. You could do it during the evening supper time, or you could do it for brunch, or you lunch, breakfast, whatever you like. And we have one for children, for women, and one for men. So you're going to see 3 of these cards. This is the children's one. This is the one that is completely done. And you'll see right here, the pop-up is right here. It's a Let It Snow. I can get this right here. Yeah. So basically, this is what you have. And it actually stands up, and it can be sitting on the dinner plate, and then you can pop it up and put it on your table. The next thing here is some of the materials that were used was Whisper White, Coastal Cabana paper, and we used red right here, the real red. And then we used some color tools, which are Flirty Flamingo, Shaded Spruce. These are great.
The markers.
The markers, okay. And so Coastal Cabana, the lipstick one also we used to do this coloring, all right? And you can see here, I guess you can see.
Let it catch the light. Yep,
yeah,
there it is.
There it is. So you can see here that it was a little bit colored in. So let's look at the kit that was used for this. And of course we used the red ribbon, our beautiful.
Can I point something out about that actually?
Yes.
So I wanted to say a couple things about the outside. So
okay,
this uses that, is it the knit? What is the name of that embossing folder?
It is called the
Winter
Knit.
So we didn't have the DSP that we wanted to use with this, the designer
Ordered
series
it
paper.
too late.
So we made our own. So we inked that embossing folder with the real red, which was Renee's idea. I wasn't sure about that on the Coastal Cabana, I don't know if you remember, but it turned out so well. And then this uses that snowman punch to make the tag, which then you could write the child's name on. And we actually, this was Renee's idea too, we took the white baker's twine and we actually used that Coastal Cabana marker to color that in so that it would match perfectly. Because of course that's one of the things Stampin' Up's known for, is that color coordination. So that's his little bow tie as the tag on the outside there.
Where you can place his name so that then when everyone knows where they sit, so
Exactly.
they're placeholders.
Yeah.
Okay, also here is the Snowman Season Stamp Set that was used for this. That is all I used for the entire thing. And some punches. I used the 2 and, I believe it's the 2 and, what is it?
2 and
a quarter?
Yep.
Yeah, 2 1/4 and the 1 1/2, right? So those are the 2 punches I used. And then the last one, the snowman, I used, I did it by hand, and I used a circular glass and then went ahead and just rounded it out.
That was clever.
And then finally, on that one, the great buff paint. It's wonderful.
It's like magic.
It is.
Use
that one's
heat
fun.
tool.
Yes.
Make it all puffy, which you can probably see there. It looks like it's dripping in snow.
Yes. All right. So that is our first one, and that is the one that is complete for you. And we're going to next do the ladies. And so as she's doing, we're pulling it down so you can see.
Okay, so the overall dimensions of this paper are 8.5 by 5.5. So of course you're probably using 8.5 by 11 paper. So you're just gonna cut that in half on the 11-inch side. So you get this 8.5 by 5.5 piece. We actually have it written down here, although I'm not sure you can see that from there. But we'll have all this in the description below. So then from there, you want to score at 2, 4, 6, sorry.
2, 4, 6,
and 8. So actually go this way, 2, 4, 6, and 8, because if it's 8.5, then you have this little 1/2-inch tab. And then you go ahead and on the short side, score it at 2 3/4. And then you're gonna cut off one of these tabs. Oops, sorry, I just realized I'm holding it a little high. Cut off one of these tabs and angle cut this tab that's left over. And of course you're folding on all your score lines except for one. So this is gonna be that back of the card that you want to have stay strong and straight. And so that's the one that you're not going to fold on. And we'll be reinforcing that with DSP, or you could do it with cardstock. And then you cut down to the score line on the side that does not have the tab remaining. Do you have anything you wanted to add on that, Renee?
No, I think we're good. So
Okay.
just whenever you do that, just use our dimensions and you should be golden.
Yeah. All right, so what's our next step?
So Hannah is going to go ahead and do the women's, and to preserve time, I'm going to go ahead and do the man's, all right? And so the first thing we're going to do is these strips, which we will have the dimensions down below. These strips are what we're going to glue on the outside, all right? And this is obviously coming from the brightly gleaming Christmas paper. I was
Love
trying to
that
get
paper.
that word
You got
out.
it.
So the brightly gleaming Christmas paper, which is almost all gone. We know right now it's the 18th of December and everything is being used up. It's great. And for Hannah's, we are using the Christmas rose and medley.
Yeah, Christmas time is here, right?
Christmas time is here. Yes, product medley paper, which has been delightful and beautiful. And she's going ahead and gluing those strips down. And of course, we used the brightly gleaming paper for some of the cutouts, and you'll see that in a bit.
Oh, yeah, the Christmas time is here paper, so
Yeah.
you'll see those. And then the stamp set, that's Christmas rose, so you were right
Yes.
about that.
Yeah.
And which stamp sets do we use
Okay,
for
so
your
for
design?
mine, for mine, we are going to use the Memories of Home. We're going to use the smaller ornaments, okay? And then for the larger ornament, which is going to be part of our pop-up box that you're going to see, we use the Christmas Gleaming set, all right? And so those are the sets that we used to produce our insides of our pop-up card. The other thing that we used for my pop-up card was the punch,
There you go.
which is called our Timeless Label Punch, as you know this one. And we use that to go ahead and stamp out our deck, the halls with bows of holly. And that, of course, came from that Christmas Gleaming pack. And of course, we use the Delicata Gold. All Christmas long, we've been using those Delicata Gold, Silver, and Copper like crazy.
Love those. So I think that
Yeah.
one actually is the copper, because then this one
Oh,
is
this-
the gold.
Oh, this one's the copper.
If you see them side by side, then you can tell
Oh,
the
yeah.
difference there. But yeah, those delicatas are beautiful. And this, I think you got out of a paper pumpkin, right? This die cut banner.
Yes.
So that was
yes.
from a paper pumpkin kit. Always keep those
Yes.
extras they give you, because there's usually a few extras in there, and you can use them for things like this.
All right. So you can go ahead. I will start gluing, and now you can talk.
Great. Okay, here's your glue.
Great.
So yes, I've gone ahead and glued all 4 strips on what is going to be the outside of my card. You can see that when we cut these, we cut one differently. That was not intentional, but it worked out well, because you are going to have 3 sides that you fold so that they can splay out, for lack of a better word. And then, like I said, you're going to have the back strip of your card stay stable as a base. And so I just used the one side of DSP that was vertical on that special flap. And that honestly helps me know which one that is. So that's the one that I have not folded. I don't want to fold it because I don't want to compromise that integrity. But these ones you can already see are bending a little bit because the cardstock underneath has been folded. So I'm going to go ahead and fold those over. So again, it's 3 of your 4 sides that you are folding again now that you've got the DSP on there. And you probably do want to do that pretty quickly after you glue. In fact, unlike me, you might want to glue and then fold each one of those, because that way while the glue is drying, the paper is a little more flexible to bend and shift if it needs to. All right, so once you have that done, you can go ahead and do the DSP on the inside. So what we've done, both of us, have used the same DSP that we have on the outside of our card, but used the reverse, because of course all Stampin' Up! DSP, for the most part, minus some of the specialty designs like the foils, like gold, silver, foil, and other metallics, are going to have 2 sides to them. And I think this one's really beautiful, kind of old-fashioned, don't you think?
Oh yeah, I love that.
And this is going to be, if you weren't noticing out of the corner of your eye there, this is going to be the inside of Renee's. So both our papers have metallic on one side, hers the copper, mine the gold, and then a coordinating color on the inside.
So again, when you do these real quick, you want to make sure that you line them up across from each other equally, so that helps that out, all right? So just eyeball it and make sure that they are all equally across from each other. So that'll work out nicely. Okay, so here's mine with that copper, and you can see that gleaming copper, with that copper metal in there and that navy blue. And then we're gonna do the insides. And again, we have 4 pieces on the outside and 4 of these smaller pieces on the inside. And so we're just gonna glue them on what I would consider the top. And obviously this will be the bottom part,
Yeah,
right, with the flap.
That tab. Yeah.
Right, where you have that tab is going to be the bottom, and the other part will be the top. And so you'll want to glue those on the top. And that's what Hannah's doing, and that's what I'm going to do at the same time. So we're just gluing these. And again, these dimensions will be all given to you, and we talk about the small inside pieces and the longer outside pieces. Basically, you just need that one piece of paper scored, and then you just make 4 longer strips for the outside, and then these 4 shorter strips. That's really all it is, so it's not too bad.
I was going to go ahead and tell those dimensions while you're finishing
Oh
up the
yes,
DSP there.
yes, perfect.
Oh, and are you doing the opposite on the inside?
What's that
You
mean?
could do some opposite and some the same. That's okay. Just do every other.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Or
Sounds
do
good.
3, 1, and
Yes,
you're back
yes.
the other. Yeah.
Yes.
So the outside DSP, these long strips, those are going to be 5 1/4 by 3/4, so that you just end up with, what would it be, like an 1/8 of an inch around the edge? Because again, this is 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. So yeah, you just end up with an 1/8 of an inch around the edge here. So again, those are 5 1/4 by 3/4. And then the smaller squares on the inside are 2 1/2 by 1 3/4. So you just need 4 of each of those. And then we are gonna have these little strips to hold our pop-ups. You could use window sheets. We just went ahead and used the coordinating color. So for me, Whisper White, for Renee's card, her base, and therefore her strips are all very vanilla. And those are just 2 3/4 by 1/2 inch. But almost any length would do, honestly, just small strips that look right to you.
Yes, exactly, yes.
So, oh, lovely. I like the alternating, actually. That's
Yeah.
nice. You get to see a couple different options.
Yes.
So there we go.
So obviously that was not quite intended, but that's all right.
Happy accident.
And that'll work just fine. And so if I had time, I might go ahead and just put another new piece, cut new pieces if I didn't like it, but I think it'll work just fine on the inside.
So then you can go ahead and close up your card. See if I can get my glue out. So you're putting glue on this one little tab that you left behind.
Yeah, see the tab. Right.
Thanks for showing that, Renee. And then the best way to do this is just go ahead and close your card over.
Yes, flat.
Fold it like French doors. Yep.
Yep.
And we'll give that a second to dry. And then we have the only trick, I feel like, to this card.
Yes.
And it's not too bad. It just requires a little bit of patience. So we're going to be putting this inside divider in. And you can see this piece is scored at a 1/2 inch from either end. And I think this is 3 inches by 2 3/4, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's correct. And then you just score on the long side, so on the 3 inch side at a 1/2 and 2 1/2, so that you get a 1/2 inch flap on either side. This is gonna go inside the card to hold one of your pop-up pieces. So we wanna make sure that we've got the front
side,
facing us.
Right. And
Or actually, so you can see, I'll have the back facing me.
right. So you have mine here, and I'm gonna fold back here. I wanna make these fold nicely, as she said before. I'm just gonna fold them. I'm gonna fold that.
And I'm just
Now-
putting glue on the little flaps of my inside divider.
And then I'm going to fold this one down, which is kind of fun like this. This is so
I actually like how that
obviously,
turned out.
yes, I do too. So if you think about this, this is just so I believe for a male, very nice colors. And it works just perfectly. And even with that mistake, it's just great.
It's
elegant.
I do think it was a happy accident.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got this ready to go because you can see I've got my glue on my flaps. So the only trick here is getting this placed right in the middle of what has basically become a box. You can see on this one that we already made that it's right in the middle there. And so you're just gluing those flaps to the inside sides. So I'm gonna have to probably pick this up to really look at it, but I'm just gonna slide this down inside about halfway. Doesn't have to be exact, but I do like it to be as good as possible. Bit of a perfectionist. Anyway, so then I've got one flap, and I'm just gonna hold it for a second so that it begins to adhere. So I'm just holding, you can see that flap up against the side there.
And it shouldn't really matter which side you put your flaps, whether you go in from the front or the back, but I would suggest that when you put it in, that the flaps end up pointing towards the back. I don't think it really matters.
Yeah, but that's
but it just,
ideal.
I think it would be wise just to put it on the back side.
So now that I've got one side adhered, you can see the other side isn't yet, but what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold the semi-adhered side in place, and then I'm actually just gonna go ahead and close the card. And now it's really easy to just pinch. I wanna make sure it's kind of sticking out the bottom there, you can see, so I wanna make sure to push that up inside. So I make sure it's flush along the bottom, and I just kind of press while it's closed. And then pop it open, and there it is. So actually that wasn't so bad.
You did it.
All that talk about the trickiness, and it wasn't so bad. All right. So now mine is ready for the pop-ups. So this may also take a little time. It's not so much tricky, it's just getting it the way you like it. Because you want to have all three of your images, whether these are stamped images like the snowman card or cutouts. We actually fussy cut these images out of the DSP from the Christmas Time is Here suite, or product medley rather. And you want to make sure they all show. So I want to make sure that that will show behind this, which will show behind that.
Oh, look
so
how
I'm going to take some time, thanks, lining those up on my strips. And depending on how long that takes, this may end up in the blooper section of the video.
Yes.
The other thing is you want to make sure that ideally these things aren't going to show when the card is closed, because it's supposed to be a surprise when it pops up.
Yes. So, as she said, we have these three pieces, and my smaller piece will be up in front, which this will be my front. And then I will go ahead and take the Deck the Halls and put that in the center. And then in the back comes the larger, I believe. I will look at that also and see if I like that, or I might put the small one way at the top in the back, depending on that Deck the Halls and how large it is. The good part about these is when you go ahead and put them in, you'll glue them, okay? And then you have an opportunity to position how high or low you want to go. So don't be afraid to move it up and down. Don't think it has a magic spot. It's just any spot that will work for the picture, the frame. So just be able to look at what you have and then make a decision.
And I've got my last piece in. So now I've got all three. It's like a little bouquet of flowers growing out of there.
Yes.
Boy, I love this paper. So special. So you can see them all when it's open. Whoop. And why is one all of a sudden poking out? It wasn't supposed to be poking out when it was closed. Let me work on that. Just do a little
It's
fix
how
in
you
here.
close it, yeah.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't poking out before. There we go. And it's not showing when it's closed. So the last step for me is going to be adding the ribbon and the tag. So we used the dies that come with the Christmas Time is Here set, right? To create just this beautiful scalloped tag. And so this is where you could write the name of whatever lucky lady gets to sit at this place. And we used the gold ribbon that also comes with that product medley. So once you've tied this around your card the first time, you can just slide it on and off. And you've got yours placed. It looks lovely.
Okay, so now let's look at the males. All right, so here's our guy. Here he is. And we've got our little ornaments. And then we've got our saying right here. And it is very sophisticated, very simple, just like men are. I think they will enjoy this little box. And I think the women will enjoy their box. It is perfect for a mother, grandmother, sister, anything like that. So for all the women at your table, you might design this one. For all the kids, you would design this one. And then for all the men, you would design this one.
We use that same ornament punch to punch out the same size ornament as the big ornament inside.
Yes, and that came with the, I did get the bundle on this, and so I got the Christmas Gleaming bundle. So I got the 2 punches, as you saw in the card, and then I also got the stamps. And then after that, of course, I couldn't resist because you had these other 2 stamps right here that I really wanted.
And they use that same small punch, right?
Yes, and they use the exact same
love that.
small
Stampin'
punch.
Up allows one product to go a long way. I'm gonna cap my glue, and I guess we can come back on here to say a thank you and goodbye.
Yes, and we really hope you enjoyed this video. Again, we will give you the dimensions on the bottom so you don't have to worry at all about that. And we wish you a very Merry Christmas, and we will be back, and we will see you in the new year. And we hope that your holidays bring you a lot of cheer.
Happy all the holidays.
All right, happy crafting. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And I'm going to fix the lights, and you're going to move over so they can see you better.
Well, we want to make sure we can see you in there too. Stay close, stay close. We're gonna be snuggling together for this one.
Okay.
All right, so yes, so just to talk about some of the dimensions while Renee is adjusting our lights. Ooh, it's like a thunderstorm. Lightning.
I'm sorry, I for some reason have something in my throat.
No, hopefully you're not getting a cold.
No.
It's that time of year.
Maybe it was the coffee that I drank too.
Well, you gotta have the energy for this, that's for sure. Although I would say this is a surprisingly easy project. I mean, I feel like a lot of the things we do, they look wow, or at least hopefully they do, but they're quite simple to make, which is kind of the ideal.
So she is doing hers here.
I'm working on it. This is a big piece to fit in here.
All right. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Sometimes you might have to snip maybe some off.
Yeah, we'll see. It's gonna be a tight fit, but I think I can make it work creatively.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Which is what we're doing here after all.
That's right. So what I'm going to do is to get that, I know I'm going to stick these on, so I'll stick these on first, and then I'll play with it in my box. So I'm just going to I'm going to glue these sticks on to my individual pieces.
Yeah, your pieces are a little smaller, so
yeah,
it's a little easier to place.
Yeah, with the, and I'm just going to put the glue on the, what I call a stick, the popsicle stick.
Yeah.
The popsicle strips. Or strips. And I'm just going to glue it right in the center, and just make sure I got a good hold, not too high, not too low, because it's got to hold your picture up. So, you know, that's, I don't know if you can you see that, where that is? I don't know if you can see that, but it ends right here.
Maybe if you turn it towards the light, you can catch the shadow.
Oh, there it is. Thank you so much. So there it is. So you can see how far up that is. All right?
All right, so again, if you're using smaller images, you don't have to worry about this, but if you want to use a bigger image like I did, the trick for me was making sure you couldn't see it from the outside.
Right.
So normally you would just stick your furthest back image, you know, centered or somewhere on this back strip, but I wasn't able to do that because then you would have seen it. Oh, sorry, Renee.
That's okay.
You would have seen it poking out the sides, and I didn't want that because, again, I want it to be a surprise. So what I had to do was put it where now it's going to be kind of in the corner, but I don't mind that. I feel like that still looks kind of cool. to have it like that, and then I just put my other things angled in a different way. But that way, you still see it when it's open, and you don't see it when it's closed. So made it work. Yep. So moving on to my next layer here.
The fun part of crafting, it all happens while you're doing it. It changes as you go.
That's right. It's a constant process.
That's right. And the flexibility is important because, as we know, I almost put it on backwards, my little popsicle stick. And again, I'm just putting it on there so that I know it can hold it up. Some people use the clear
the window sheets.
The window sheets.
Yeah.
And at first I was concerned that that would be a problem, that we weren't, but it's not at all. Using the simple paper of the stock card is just fine. As you saw, these are so cute. As you saw on this one, I'm using those same strips, and I mean, you just can't even tell. So, great little box. This is actually going to my great nephew. His name is Preston, and so he is going to go ahead and get this card because he lives out on the East Shore, Northern East Shore, and so I decided I was going to send them that one.
Where they actually have snowman.
Yes, where they actually
unlike
have
here in Florida
snowman.
where we have sandmen instead. Okay, so the next layer, so you put one layer on this back flap, that base flap that, again, we never folded so that it would stay stable. Your next layer goes on that inside divider we created. So I stuck mine on the back. Doesn't matter too much, like Renee was saying earlier, but again, if you want it to be really ideal, you stick that on the back of the divider. That way you don't see the strip that's holding it up. So just a little cleaner finish. And now I just have one more layer to do on the front, which is going to go on the back of this front flap, right in there. So again, you don't really end up seeing any of those strips. I guess if you wanted to see the strips, if that was part of like your design look, you could use colored cardstock. I wouldn't use DSP because it's too thin. Cardstock is obviously thicker, but I like the way it kind of disappears, whether that's with the window sheet or the base color, Whisper White or Very Vanilla. How's yours coming along?
It's coming along. I think though, because they are,
Ooh.
that's interesting.
A little flicker again. That time it wasn't you, Renee.
I'm going to put that there, and that one would go there. It's going to go there. Okay, I think I'm getting there with my design here. I'm going to put that right here on this side. So my first one is going to be my little one, and I put that in the one corner. And then the wish is going to go, I'm just going to glue the bottom of that and then decide how I'm going to put that. I'm going to put that lower also. You can also sandwich it while you want to glue it. Again, that sandwiching procedure works really well with this box, which is wonderful. Because sometimes we don't get, with boxes, we don't get the opportunity to do that. And then my final will be back here, which will come right there. These are our 3 interesting cards with our interesting lights.
The lights are applauding for our cards.
But these are the boxes.
And you just have your tag to add on your outside, right?
Yes. And so my tag, this light,
here we go again.
this light is an interesting light. And so here is my tag, and the lights will be okay. I'm gonna go ahead and give them a little boost.
Here, I'll work on this while you do that.
Yes, I'll give my lights
I recommend putting the tag at least at the halfway point. You might even put it a little higher than halfway to kind of hold those flaps together. There we go. That's a great light. And then I at least like it centered in the middle there. And this is some baker's twine, which is a very vanilla base with a copper metallic in that to match. That's actually not a Stampin' Up! Product, but there are equivalent products you can get from Stampin'.